Good day, viewers. Welcome back to another episode coming to you live on SS Media. This is your favorite program, the Gam Writers program. Here we are today. I have a guest that is sitting right beside me, and of course, I will hand over the mic to him to introduce himself. Well, young man, welcome to SS Media, and of course, we are honored and grateful to have you today on our platform. Can you please tell us more about yourself? Your name, where you were born, and then your schooling background, and so on and so forth, please.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum to you all. My name is Musa Isis, known as the logical intellect poet inspired by wisdom. I was born in Nigeria. Both my parents are Gambians, but then my father was in Nigeria, so he was based there at a point in time. So, but currently I'm living in Abuko, and I did my lower basic and nursery in Abuko Lower Basic School. From there, moving to Abuko Upper Basic School. And then I did my senior secondary in Carnifing East, where I graduated in 2024.
Wow, that's amazing, Musa, and thank you so much for introducing yourself. Well, that is very interesting, I can say. You mentioned about the logical intellectual power, which is really amazing, which inspired me definitely, I can say. If I may ask, what is the reason behind that name, that logical intellectual poet? Because whenever I think of this, when I heard the logical, I was like, wow, logic, you must be a logical somebody. So can you please tell us what is the reason behind that name?
Okay, the reason behind the name is I I believe that every human should be logical in order to make sense. And being logical is all about being reasonable, being open-minded, being somebody who talks based on reasons, not just like making up stories and stuff like that. So I said, why not name myself the logical and then intellect poet inspired by wisdom? Because I believe that I was inspired by wisdom. I was inspired by people like Zakib Naik, whom we know that they are very logical when we come in terms of discussing and in terms of speeches, you understand?
Definitely.
So when we come in terms, people like Mohammed Hublus, people like Mufti Mink, people like Muhammad Navid, people like Umar Isa, and people like Bilal as well, who is a spoken word poet. But when he speaks, you think he's rapping, but whatever he says, he was a Christian at first, but now he's a Muslim. He converted to Muslim alone. So I was inspired by these people, and through that I said, why not name myself the logical?
Okay, then who named you that name? Is it yourself or somebody?
I name myself.
Oh, that's interesting. Then, Musa, the name comes from something, I can say, because I believe you are a writer. So can you take us through your writing process? I mean, how do you become to be a writer, and how do you become,
Okay. At first, I was a good listener. I do make researches. I love making researches. I love listening to motivational speech, and I love listening to spoken word poetry as well. And I would say during my lower, I wasn't that much involved. But when I was starting my upper, when I was in grade 7, I started building interest, in writing, because I believe that these people, like, if they could sit and write something that inspires me, then I also believe that I could write something that will inspire people as well. So since they inspired me, I also want to inspire people. So I write my first poem, which was Dunia.
Wow, amazing.
Okay, so that is how my writing started. So in school during those days, like when there is no teacher, I used to volunteer in front of the class. I will be reciting poems. I will be giving like dawa, stuff like that. At which a certain stage when they call me Ustaz, but I tell them that I'm not Ustaz. Yeah, so I'm just doing what I love doing. That's it.
Wow, that is something that is a very, I think I can say is a passion in you.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, definitely. So do you have a specific environment that you focus on, like when writing? I mean, a place where you normally feel comfortable. Normally, when you want to write something, that's where you choose to be, to make sure that your write is there, please.
Okay, like my specific environment that I choose to write is just like at my house. We have a place whereby whenever I want to write, that is where I go. Or normally at night during 1, 2, when I'm alone in the parlor. So that is the time I finding inspiration and started thinking, and then
Wow, that's
just went.
amazing. So that is your place that you normally choose whenever you want to write something.
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting, I can say. So, do you think writing can change your way of life and the life of other people that surrounded you?
Yeah, I think writing is a very powerful tool. When uh, like when you are writing
Mhm.
and whatever you are to write, it is right or it is written based on morals, based on societal values, based on preaching the right and assisting people from the wrong. I think it's a very powerful tool that can change society, that can change mindset, and that can change the people around you and even yourself as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure, that's very interesting then. So that takes us through the writing process, I can say. Musa, I believe like there's this subject that we normally do in our school life,
Yeah.
which is called literature, and I
Yeah.
believe it's very important when it
Yeah.
comes to writing.
Yeah.
Why not right?
Yeah.
Well, how do literature then contribute to your writing skills, if I may ask?
I would say literature contributes a lot because literature itself is life, like the way poetry is life. When you go to the branches of literature, you have, poetry, drama, and prose.
Exactly.
You see?
Sure.
So, through literature, I've been able to develop myself likewise before, and now it's quite different.
Wow.
The then Musa and the now Musa, or the then logical and the now logical is quite different because I've tried to help myself improve by trying to read more literature, more prose, more poetry, which has helped me in writing as well. So literature has contributed a lot.
Wow, that's amazing. So you made mention about the types, I can say, which we also call the genre of literature, I believe, which are the prose, poetry, and then drama. So among these three, which one do you focus the most on?
I focus more on poetry.
Wow.
But then, poetry and prose is like them book and they book on by.
Okay, then
You see the point?
tell us the difference then.
Okay, so I
The
would
similarities. I can say.
okay, yeah. So I would say poetry, it can be based in different ways. Like we have spoken word poetry, like you have types of poetry as well.
Okay.
So we have type of poetry, we have haiku, we have sonnet, we have many types of poetry as well.
Sure.
But for me, my type of poetry is based on spoken word poetry. And first, it's more of like writing a paragraph, like when you see these newspapers,
Okay.
they are written in a prose form. And poetry is like just managing the words and trying to summarize a point. And sometimes you don't even need to make yourself clear on what you are to write.
Right.
Make people wonder like a wounded wonder. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So it means whatever you're writing is literacy, I can say, where you hide the meaning or you force people to think better for them to understand what actually you're trying to say.
And ponder about it.
Exactly. So that's amazing, mashallah. So Musa, as a Gambian writer, I mean, are you a fan of the subject then, literature?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the subject. At first, I wasn't a fan, but during my saving times, I got saving times, and probably I was kind of been like a fan of it since I realized that it is important
Something
for every poet.
yes.
Yeah, for every poet, you have to make literature your friend. And how do you get to understand the figures of speech and then which are very important in disseminating information in your poems.
Exactly.
Okay, you cannot say you can write a poem without a metaphor. You cannot say you can write a poem without a simile, or without like if you want to write a poem wherever you want to make the crowd to boost, you must use hyperbole.
Exactly, sure.
You must exaggerate in a way, like Guinness Jaha says, I don't know how many percent of this and that. So you understand. So these are figures of speech that are very important in poetry as well, and it helps create like a fusion whereby people will be amazed by the creativity of it.
So I can say like the jumbo of writing is in literature then.
Yeah,
so very interesting, definitely. So then most Gambians or most, like let me say, many students do not like this subject. So then what words of advice do you have for them as a writer who is so is a fan of this subject then?
I would say you just need like for them the main problem is like big words, like sometimes I cannot understand this and that in literature. And literature is like you write a lot and stuff like that. But I would tell them like try to find out the beauty of it.
Exactly.
Try to sit and read it. Then you will realize that like you don't know nothing about English, in fact. Because when you read literature, like you realize like you are behind a lot.
Wow.
As more as you read literature, the more you are capacitated and the more you understand things.
Wow.
And the more you are able to speak the way that is pleased to you.
Sure. Out there who normally say this subject is difficult. Nothing is difficult in life, I can say. It's just you are putting effort towards that. And of course, if you put efforts, you will surely get what you want. You made mention about you never liked the subject before, but with time, you know that it's something that is part of you, and you must develop the subject in you so that at least you can develop your writing skills that you're talking about. Well, that's very interesting, I can say. So, Musa, a Gambian writer, and of course, the logical one for that matter. Let me ask you this. I normally heard of this, like this statement. If you want to hide something for Africans, you can write it down. So, what does this statement means to you? If you want to hide something for Africans, you can just write it down. Then you must hide it to Africans. Then, so what do you understand about this statement?
Like if you said, if you want to write something, you must hide it.
If you want to hide something for Africans.
Yeah, if you want to hide something for Africans,
then you can write it down. With that, you will hide it to them. They will never know.
Okay, for me, I would say my own understanding of that is, if you want to hide something from Africans, you must write it down. Simply means like, if you want to hide it, because Africans, we don't love to read.
I love that. Yes.
So, we don't love to read. And it is very important that we build this attitude in us that we have to read and we must have to read. Because it is something that is very important to read. And just imagine in the Gambia here, people who read, or poets in fact who read and understand the landscape of literature are few.
Sure.
You know, it's just that some are just gifted naturally, and when they come, you know, they deliver as expected.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then it is important that we read, and what I understand from this subject, from that statement, is that we Africans don't read, and Africans have to read in order to be able to capacitate themselves.
Exactly. So that is very important. I mean, Africans is because they don't read. That is why most of the time, if you write something, if you write it, then you just hide it to them because they don't read. So probably I want to write something that comes in my mind. So I just put it down. They will never know what actually I mean, or because of the reading culture is not in them. So it's something that we have to avoid as Africans. That is tried by always to be reading.
And I would like to add this. And when you look at it, Africans, it is only few of us who knows about our great heroes, our legends who have fought for our independence. And I believe that every African should be a Pan-Africanist.
Wow.
But only few, if you ask, only few of us know about Pan-Africanism, how it was built, and what is the logic behind its creation. You see the point? And it is very important that we Africans, all of us, we adopt this spirit and zeal of us in us that we are Pan-Africans, and we will fight for this cause till death finds us. And when you look at it, many people have died in this cause. And it is when you see our leaders cheating, our leaders doing all this corruption, the favoritism, the nepotism is too much in the continent, it is because we haven't built this culture in us.
That is the reading culture, right?
Not only the reading culture, but also that Pan-Africanism zeal as well.
Exactly.
Okay, and when we build these things in us, then we will be able to eradicate, abrogate, and eliminate this, these enzymes. Can I say bacteria? So that's it. So I would advise all Africans to read about Pan-Africanism and read as well.
Exactly, to be readers at least, for them to also build this in them. So what do you think is the reason behind like they feel difficult to read always? What do you think must be the reason why they don't use to read always?
I would say parents, number one.
What?
Parents, like our parents, like I remember when I was young, my parents have never told me to go and study.
Wow.
That is how I grew up. Like I'm somebody who, like, it's just like I love making researches. But nobody has ever told me go and study your books. This is exam and stuff like that. My parents have never told me that. So I stand on my feet by myself. So I may not be as fortunate as some out there. And I would say parents need to groom their children when they are young.
Okay.
You have to build that culture in them. Like you have to read your books, you have to study by this time.
Exactly.
This time don't have to find you outside because when this time reaches, you have to go and fight with your books.
Sure.
Battle with them, wobble with them. You understand? So I think parents needs to play a big role in that area as
exactly. Well, especially when they are young. Most of the time, if someone grows up like that, probably you might not make him or her to be in another way. But of course, what he or she start up, that's how he or she's going to continue.
Yeah, the way you are groomed, that's the way you grow.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to explain. Yeah. So this is it. So in your own experience, do you think a writer can be a reader always? Like,
of course, a writer is a reader. Yeah, okay. Then before a writer becomes a writer
must be a reader.
Must be a reader.
Yes,
that is a matter of fact. So you have to read in order to be able to write something that makes sense, something that captures attention, something that evokes emotions. And
okay, so what would be the consequences then if you don't read as a writer then?
The consequences of you will not reading if you don't become a writer, like becoming a writer, is that when you write, you write like wooden stuff, like I would say Jimbo, Proverb, Khan, and stuff like that. You get the point? Like your writing wouldn't have that rich culture in it. So and when a reader, a good reader, or a writer who reads your write-up, they would understand that something is lacking. And a writer who does not read cannot edit his writing.
So the two has to go together.
Yeah, the two has to go together.
So no matter what, you cannot just be a writer without being a reader.
A reader. You have to be a good reader in order to be a good writer. Yeah, you can be a writer without reading. It's fine, but you wouldn't be a good writer.
Okay.
That's the difference.
What of those people who do write, but they don't display their message?
Okay, I got you. Like there are some people who love writing, but then it's because they don't have the voice. Okay, number one of the chat is because they don't have the voice, or two is because they are shy, or three is because they don't have the courage. What most good writers who write and do not recite their write-ups or do not bring them in speeches is because they don't have the voice.
The voice, or they are shy, or stuff like that. So because of all those things, that is the reason why they don't write, or they don't read, I can say, or they don't display their message. And most of the time, they feel like going to the studio to record their poetry, their poets, I can say, their poems. It's always difficult for them. So from there, let's go to a short commercial break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back after that short commercial break. To remind you, this is your favorite program, the Gam Writers program. And of course, today we have a very talented somebody who is sitting right beside us, Musa Sisaho, I believe, the logical, I can say, the intellectual logical, I believe. So, Musa, welcome back here again.
It's a pleasure.
If you can continue, like, what always inspired to write? What I mean by this, do you draw your writing from your own self or to the world around you? Like you just look at the wall and then the writing, or you just write based on how you see yourself?
Like I said, I write universally, which simply means like sometimes I write because the inspiration is derived from my experience. Okay. Sometimes I write because of the bloodshed atrocities that are going around the world.
Wow.
Sometimes I write because of how I see our country moving. That is not helping in any way, shape, or form our society as well.
Sure.
So that is why I have poems like War is Devastating, which is talking about the world.
Okay.
I have poems like the society. And I also have the poems about myself, like The Voice of the Judge.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you get the point.
Okay. So if I may ask, you write universally.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And you write something that is also around the world, that is around you, I can say. You made mention about the blood seeds.
Yeah.
You also write something about that.
Yeah,
so I believe we have many blood seeds sometimes, like I said, the Palestinians, something like that.
Yeah.
So do you have any poems that basically touch that area?
Of course. I in fact have a special poem which is for Palestinians.
Wow.
And currently I have an unbelievable poem which is also sabotaging America, calling them names because of who they are, trying to pinpoint their true identity, and trying to also sympathize with the Palestinians. But before I wrote up poems about Palestine, Palestinians are dying, the world is silent, race your humanity, so-called creatures of democracy.
Can you please face the camera and then give us a freestyle of the piece then?
Okay, I'll say the piece recite, the piece reads and I recite. Palestinians, they are dying, the world is silent, race your humanity, so-called creatures of democracy. So how many more Palestinians have to die, starve to death, be killed iniquitously before your desires are quenched because of Israel's reprehensible genocide and desire to eliminate the Muslims in Gaza with the baseless claim of going after Hamas, while civilians have been massacred like the brutal incident of the Crusaders. For this hot muscle to see Palestinians die,
Yes, amazing.
Yeah.
So I believe this piece has to reach to the Palestinians then,
Yeah,
so that they can get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Amazing, definitely. So Musa writes something that is around the world.
Yeah, and I also wrote a poem about the war. War is devastating as well, which is talking about Sudan, which is talking about Palestine.
Oh,
I won't touch about the Russian part and Ukrainian part because I believe there's a lot of politics going around there.
so just because of politics, that's the reason why you don't want to
Not just because of politics, but because I believe that the Russians are right for invading Ukraine.
Oh,
Yeah, because they are protected. If Russia was to take their ships and their military base in Mexico, America would have eliminated Mexico a long way ago.
wow.
So I believe that they are doing it for their own good, for their protection, because Americans can hit you on the back at any time. They are warmongers. So that's it.
Okay, they are warmongers. Okay,
Yeah.
Amazing. So let's talk about this. Is there any what part of writing give you the most satisfaction? Like what satisfies you the most? Because most writers, especially the poetry aspect, most of them love the entertainment aspect.
Yeah.
Some of them love writing love poems. Some of them want to be writing something that is motivational. So, as a logical poet, so what actually is your area of writing then?
My area of writing is writing something that awakes the consciousness of the people, of my society, of the world. My writing style is something like I don't write love poems, not because not because I don't think love poems are, can be beneficial to some people.
Exactly, yes.
But I believe that it's just a waste of time.
And it's not your area.
Yeah, it's not my area as well.
Fine.
So currently I'm having a poem which is logical love for her. But in the poem they thought like I was referring to a car.
Oh.
But if you look at the poem and then at the end of the poem you realize that logically is in love with something else beyond you and I.
Wow, that's the logic.
Yes.
That's something that people have to think of before what actually you're saying.
Yeah, and then many people try to say, I'm surprised.
Wow.
Like, this and that. But loving poem is not my style, but then I believe like writing to motivate people, to encourage people to do more good than bad.
Okay.
And to also advise our leaders.
Wow.
And
so it means your writing has to do with the motivational aspect, and more especially what is going on in our society. And that's what you normally advocate for, I can believe. So that is important. So each of these writers has their own area of writing, which I believe you already mentioned. So that is amazing. So logical, this is something that every writer, I mean, all Gambian writers are also they also go through this. So what has been the biggest challenge that you have faced so far since you started this journey?
I would say the biggest challenge that I faced so far is just the lack of support.
Wow.
Okay, I believe that the talent is there. Like if there is a support of me recording my poems each time I write a piece, or somebody who want to work with me to build up a project, I'm in for it. But then that is a big challenge for us. And then also the biasness in the industry.
Wow.
Yeah, the biasness in the industry. You send me your flyer, I will post it on my status, I will share it. But when I send it, man, you don't do the same thing. So it's like it's not mutual.
Okay. So point. Normally you say you send a flyer and then they will post it. But when they send you a flyer, you post it. So who are those people actually?
Like I wouldn't give a name because when I name a name, it might sound ugly.
Like I mean generally, whether is it poets?
Yeah, poets, of course, poets who do themselves big, poets who deem themselves like they have that status, that status quo.
Okay.
So, and I believe that that is something that shouldn't be. This industry is very small. The pointing industry is about to grow up, and in order for it to reach at its highest peak, we must try to be there for one another, support one another in terms of promoting our poems,
Okay.
promoting our flyers, promoting our projects. Like if somebody wanted to do a poetry album or poetry concert, whoa, you're a poet, I'm a poet. Let's support one another. Let's share the flyers.
Exactly.
Let's show some love. And this is what we grow the industry. But if you want to show some resistance and try to build an ego,
Okay.
and I also do the same thing. The family do that.
Yes, exactly.
So you see the point. So
Yes.
I think that should be.
So this is this is a big challenge in the industry then, which is something that we also have to avoid, because I believe you made mention about the support is lacking.
Yes,
and I believe no one can support if they don't see the unity among the people. And that's something that we have to also look at. So to the writers and the poets that are out there, this is something that we have to note on, and which is something. Now, Musa, how do you handle criticisms when you how do you handle criticisms or feedbacks? Most of the time when you give out your piece, people do criticize. It must be, and also people must give a positive react to that. So how do you handle most of the time, like the negative react? How do you handle those things? Because
okay, I would say when I wrote a poem about, I only got a criticism when I wrote the poem about Yahya Jammeh. I wrote 3 poems for him actually. Wow. So when I wrote a poem,
you received criticisms from that poems.
Yeah, from all of those poems, I can say. The other poems I received criticism was just the recording aspect, like I should go and try to record in a more quality studio, stuff like that.
Okay, yes.
So, because the message is powerful, and then poems like this should be, recorded in a high standard studio. So that was the only criticism I faced. And then the poem about Yahya Jammeh, which is...
Why do you think people criticize you on that poem that you're talking about?
Okay, one thing, Pan-Africanists are not blind. The truth, they dig. And then we should wake up, like Africa, we should wake up. All these leaders they call dictators, they're heroes.
Sure, definitely.
They were willing to put their necks on the guillotine for us, the people.
Exactly.
They call Muammar Gaddafi a dictator. Was he a dictator?
Let me ask you.
Was Muammar Gaddafi? Europe is the biggest continent that is, like Europe is dictating the world, and America, they are dictating the world. Who's calling them dictator? That is why, in my opinion, whenever I'm to address something like democracy, I say them are crazy. They are crazy. Like for me, who killed Gaddafi? Gaddafi. Can you imagine a country that has zero debt? Even America is debted with billions of dollars. Europe is debted with millions of dollars, euros.
Wow.
Gambia, Africa is debted, except one country, which is Libya, because of a leader who was willing to put his neck on the guillotine for his people. They call him a dictator. Yahya Jammeh, what did he do? 22 years, he has developed this country.
Exactly.
Agriculture has improved during his era. Education, infrastructure, we need them. Like, the man has done a lot that we should accolade him. What are we accolading him? But we are only concentrating on the dark side, because that is a propaganda being paid by hideous aliens to promote an image of him that is not of his.
Exactly.
So that is what I believe, I personally. You might believe something else. That is your take. But my take is, as a Pan-Africanist at first, I hated the man because of what I heard about him. But you have to understand that there are a lot of rumors going around him. So I believe that, I wouldn't say Yahya Jammeh is completely innocent. As a leader, there are certain things that you must take actions.
Exactly.
Based on the information you receive. No man is perfect. We all make mistakes.
Sure,
but I believe that Gambia, to have a leader like Yahya Jammeh, I wouldn't say it wouldn't happen because I'm a Muslim, but I would say it would be very difficult. Currently, the nation is debted with 110 billion. Okay. That's why I like.
So let me ask, like this point that you're trying to say, which is being criticized, like you just release it and people start criticizing about it. Was it before Yahya Jammeh left or after Yahya Jammeh left?
After Yahya Jammeh left.
That's the time you release it, and then that's the very time that people start criticizing.
And that's some even started thing.
How do you react when you receive those criticisms from people?
Okay, how I act is like I don't act rudely. First, I would invite you to have a dialogue with me.
Wow, amazing.
To have a dialogue with me. Because I like in cases like High Ajami's case, I have dialogue with many people and I've tried to convince them and they've seen my point of view. You understand? So I know that there are a lot of rumors going outside there,
Sure.
you know, that dates their minds against the man. But for me, I believe that there is more to the story than just those dating rumors.
Exactly.
So you get the point. So I try to convince you, outline his achievements, outline his like when he spoke, what he stand for, the greatness in him, and how he has objected to the white supremacism, to the Western propaganda, and to the colonizers as well. Gambians, can't you see? Don't you see? When will you see? For I have seen. That is why I am testifying, clarifying, and identifying the truth and nothing but the truth. Yahya was a true son of Africa who fought against white supremacism, corruption, tyranny, and injustice throughout his leadership. His legacy has always been to fight for his people with love and commitment. His contributions towards national development was immense and unmatched. His religious standard was courageous and outrageously religious. His devote and struggle to prosper this nation was a call for action. His devote towards the African cause was patriotic. His affection and dedication to awaken the Mama land from slumber was a love of patriotic spirit instilled in him by the love he has for the continent. So now tell me, how possible could he be guilty of all the crimes attributed to him by liars and aliens of a so-called democratic cause, being paid to tarnish and destroy his image? But no matter what, his love still remains in our hearts as one of the greatest leaders of Africa to ever exist. You see, the Europeans, they believe democracy, but they do not practice what they preach. They imitate, but they do not imitate what they dictate. So Gambians, open your eyes. It is high time you realize the reality. Their malady, our remedy, our solution becomes their problem, our progress, their worry, our success, their worst nightmare. That is why they couldn't stand Babili Mansa, a true lion to Africa's struggle. His devotion towards the African cause was pathetic. His ambition was to unite. His dream was to ignite. The spirit of patriotism, Pan-Africanism he embraced, heroism he symbolized, nationalism embedded in his DNA. So when they say they hate you, Yahya, for being a true son of Africa, I probably love you even more for being a dictator who was willing to put his neck on the guillotine for his people. You serve this nation with love and commitment, helping the poor and the needy, giving out the charity in gifts, curing the ill, immensely developing the infrastructure, making social amenities easily accessible. So, we desist to be part of their extremist sect by boycotting you and forgetting all the good things you've done and achieved for this country called the Gambia. I know for a fact that a lot of Gambians miss you, and a lot do not. But always keep in mind that we still love you, as I am certain that you are missed by the Mama Land. Forever and ever, I will be loyal to your goodness, kindness, and greatness. Your poet, the logical intellect inspired by wisdom.
Okay, then from democracy to democracy, then fine. If we were to talk about Jame, about your poems, we're gonna spend the night here. Then let's go through this. How do you realize your success then in your writing? Like whenever you write a piece, mostly I believe you do release your pieces that you wrote, that you write. I can say. So how do you realize that you have you get success towards that piece that you write?
Like I would say, it's just the comments. Okay,
comments.
The comments, and like there are a lot of people who text me, even people I don't know. I've known many people because of poetry, and because of my poems. Because someone text me, your poem inspired me. Like I have just seen myself in your poem.
Wow, amazing.
And this is just inspirational. I would like to learn from you. Someone text me, I just want to meet up with you.
Wow.
Okay, so and that gives me the joy that lies. My aim was to impact and change the minds, change the narrative, try to change the illnesses in the society. And I think through those comments, I'm making impact. And I feel that, and this is the joy that it gives me.
Exactly.
And
sure, and that's interesting.
Success is that.
Exactly, that's very interesting. Like people do comments on what you did or what you do, and then basically most of the time you have criticisms, but then actually you also have something that will also motivate you to do better.
That's right.
Amazing. So keep it up. Mashallah. So Musa, if I may ask, if you weren't a writer, so what do you think you will be by now then?
What do I think I will be by now?
Yes.
I would say I have dream, like a dream to become a businessman for sure. I have a dream to become a journalist, which is my number one priority.
Wow.
I have a dream also to become like how to say a lawyer, but then a lawyer you have to lie a lot. A lawyer you have to lie a lot.
So do you believe that?
Of course, lawyers lie a lot. Yeah, of course, they lie a lot. And being a lawyer is a very difficult job. Okay, it's a very difficult job because when you say you want to be honest,
so
you want to be honest as the angels.
Okay.
you wouldn't be able to work effectively, or you wouldn't be able to earn as much as you would wish to earn.
Okay.
Okay. So, but then as a lawyer, you have to defend liars. You have to defend.
I think lawyers we don't love to listen to what you say.
Yeah,
so let's just stop it there before you say something discourage them.
But being a lawyer I wouldn't say it's not it's an ungodly profession. I wouldn't say that it's a good profession, but these are my own perspective when it comes to it.
Exactly.
Okay,
yes.
So everybody has a different opinion.
Yes, and I respect your opinion.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that's interesting. Then what else is your hobby that you love doing apart from writing?
From writing, I would say I research. Sometimes my parents call me mad because I will be at the home reciting my poems just like that, talking to myself. So like for me, I see poetry more than just like it's just a life for me. It's a passion for me.
Exactly.
So for me, especially when I'm not doing anything, if I don't write, I'm just reciting my poems.
Wow. So it means your everything is about
poetry. And not only that, I also love listening to news as well.
News?
Wow. It's one of my hobbies.
Something
Yeah. Like every day I watch news every day.
Wow. So you must be a current affairs somebody, then I can say.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Then that's amazing. So that journalism that you're talking about, then that's in you actually, I can say. So Musa, looking back at your work, what are you most proud of then? Looking back at your work that you have done, what are you most proud of? I can say.
I'm proud that because of poetry, or because of my work, you need poetry, right?
Sure.
Okay. Because of poetry, I've been able to connect with people.
Wow.
People who have impacted me in one way or the other. Because of poetry, I've been able to connect with good people who have helped me, which I'm not going to mention, in one way or the other.
Exactly.
Because of poetry, I've earned a respect.
Amazing.
I've earned respect, and people see me differently. I would say poetry has taken me to places.
Wow, that's amazing. So that is very amazing. So Musa, we're going to the tail of the program, I can say. So is there anything that you want to share to the audience that we haven't touched? Something that you want to share to them, please?
Okay. I would like to say that in life, you must work hard to achieve what you want to achieve. Like we agree that currently the nation is not in a good state, but you have to take up an action, make an effort. We can build this country. We can build this continent. Africa can become a world superpower, but only if we are instilled with the zeal of patriotism, with the zeal of Pan-Africanism. I would say, let us love our country as we love ourselves. Let us fight for justice as we would like to have heaven. And I will say my final words will be, intellectuals are dream to nurture. Logic, it came in nature. I embrace to adventure. Today, I am the vulture that captured the attention of a sad nation. We can make this happen together, hand in hand. This dream will come true.
Okay. Together, hand in hand, this dream must come true. Amazing, definitely. So, to ask you the last questions, is there anyone you did like to acknowledge? Anyone that you want to acknowledge? If there is any, then you can please help us with.
Okay, I would like to acknowledge my teacher, who is Mr. Fahad, Mr. Sisi,
Wow.
Mr. Gassama, and I would like to thank our principal as well during my upper basic school. Auntie, I would like to thank you very much because she has played a big role in me, and I would say she is an inspiration to me. She has taught me a lot.
Amazing.
Yeah,
okay, then Musa,
sorry,
yes.
my parents, I would like to thank. Again, I would like to thank my parents as well. My mom, especially my mom.
Wow.
You know, she's everything to me, and Muhammad Sawa as well, who is my right hand as well.
Okay, then that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. And then, of course, I believe they will hear from you, inshallah. So, well, viewers, thank you so much. This was your favorite program. I have Musa on my right hand side here today, who was my guest speaker. I said, who was my guest? I can say for this episode today. So, I was your host, Setse, and join us for our next episode. Thank you so much. Bye bye.